All right, chili. We're gonna make chili. One, because it's easy. Two, it takes a really long time to make, and you can make it out of offcuts. If you have a local butcher, which you probably do, go there and be like, hey, two things. One, I want to get some sustainably farmed meat. My cows, my pigs, my chickens, and whatever. Like whatever he can get from a real farm, because factory farming is gross and it doesn't taste very good and it's probably killing you. All right, so some olive oil into a pot. This is like a one pot meal. Once you've got that in there and you want it good and hot, this is one white onion, chopped as thinly as you can get it, really, but this is kind of a slap and dash chop because at the end of the day, it's all just gonna melt into the chili. Once you've got those in there, the magic of salt. You want to draw the liquid out of the onions, and you can't over salt it because you're going to re-season this and taste it as you go along making the chili. So you want to brown this. Once this is brown, which will take 25 minutes or so, then we're going to add some other things. But we'll go along and we'll bring you up to speed as this goes, and then we'll edit everything together. Okay, cool, bye. All right, so we got these browned up. You can come take a look at them. You don't want to go too brown with them because you're going to continue the cooking process. So when they start to get, they're just starting to change color, then you want to add the other things that you're going to brown in there. 5 cloves of garlic and 1 chili serrano. You can use jalapeno, any fresh chili. You can use Anaheim's. You can use, Carolina Reapers if you really want to. The idea of that is that you have a fresh, bright chili because we're going to use ancho broth, which is really earthy, nutty. Understanding your chili flavors and the different kinds of chilies and the different ways chilies are made is important, and it's a good exercise at home. While you're at home, use dried chilies, fresh chilies, and see how they come out. Whatever we want to do and you like, and then use them in other recipes. But for the chili, I really like to have the brightness. It's not going to be really noticeable, but make it and you'll see. I can use it. All right, so now that you've got your chilies, excuse me, your garlic and your onions, you want them to be this amalgamous mass of browny, greeny goo. You're going to start introducing liquid. This is strong black coffee. There you go. Measure quarter of a cup, half a cup, and then you're just going to let that reduce. You want that to go to almost dry or au sec, demi-sec. You're consolidating flavor. You're putting layers of things on top of each other. There's a lot in chili, and chili is just a basic recipe that it's called goulash in Europe. Came over here and used the ingredients that you have in your braising meats. That's why you want to use your offcuts. I'm going to show you the meat that we have. Move the beer out of the way. Okay, so we've got pork, which is pork butt. You can use pork butt. You can use shoulder, which is called the picnic, or you can use, I'll bring it over here where you get more light. You want a decent amount, but not an exorbitant amount of fat on your pork. And this is just stew meat. Beef could be chuck, could be top round, it could be anything. Talk to your butcher to be like, look, I'm going to make chili. I want to get something. Go from there. Once this cooks down, then we're going to have the meat seasoned and go into the thing. Salt and pepper. Like that. Just using that. Pepper. Okay, and then cumin. Cumin's vital for this. Now, a lot of people are going to tell you that at this point you should be using chili powder. I don't use chili powder. I think it's dry, plasticky, and kind of nasty tasting. We'll get into that when we get to the ancho broth. We took chicken stock and steeped 5 ancho chilies, just torn apart, pulled the stems out of them and keep the seeds in them. And just steep that for 2 hours. Once you get that, put it in the blender, blend it, put it back in the pot. You can reduce it a little bit more, but you don't have to for a chili because you're just going to reduce the hell out of it anyway. This is going to cook for at least 4 or 5 hours. All right, so now we've gotten this. We'll actually go over this. So this is all the stuff that we put the coffee into. Let that reduce. It's pretty dry, but it's not burnt. Okay, so you take that out of the pan or your pot. You have your seasoned meat, your pork and your beef. You want that good and hot with just a little bit of olive oil. Okay, now this is maybe one of the most important steps of making anything that's a braised dish. When you're braising meat, I'm going to go with 60% of the flavor on this is coming from the searing process. When you deglaze with your liquid, then you're pulling that up off of the pan, and then you cook it for a long time, it all gets together and gets happy. That happiness level is going to be displayed by how much your meat is seared. You want this like right on the edge of burnt. It also will contribute to your tenderness factor. If you're from Ireland, you're probably really familiar with boiled meat and how awful it is. Don't do that. Okay.
Mom and the cat could have fallen.
All right, so we've got all of this meat browned off. Super happy. And then you put the onions and garlic and chili and coffee back in. Let it get gooey so it's all one happiness. All right, now at this point we're gonna take these tomatoes. Now I roasted these tomatoes. These are 4 tomatoes that I just quartered. Put a little salt on them and put them in the oven for 2 hours, 250. Those can go right in there. Now if you don't feel like doing that or you don't have tomatoes around, you can use boxed or canned tomatoes. It's okay. I would prefer that it would be like pommy or something that's like a fresh, nice tomato. You can get the Kansas Sun Marzano tomatoes if you really want to. They're really sweet though. So then this goes in there, and you just want, every time you put something in the pot, stir it around, make everybody happy. There you go. Now we're gonna get to this portion. 2 things, cinnamon, and if you're from Cincinnati, don't give me this Skyline shit, okay? 1, this is gonna be made out of real food, and 2, we're not gonna put nasty overcooked spaghetti in it. So a little bit of cinnamon, not a lot. You just want it there, that's it. As a reference point so you taste some of the other things that are in there. Beer. This is Arrogant Bastard, which should make Stone happy. Used to work for them. And this is great for cooking. Whether you like to drink it or not, that's another story. But you want a lot of this in there. This is, what is that, a liter bottle? So, 2/3 of it. Give it a whirl. And then you want that to reduce by at least 2/3. Almost, just so there's a little bit of liquid left in the bottom. And then once that's happened, then we're going to throw the stock in, put the lid on. About 5 hours later, a really slow simmer, you'll have chili. We'll get back to that. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Ta-da. Where did I put my drink? All right, so we've got this to the point where your beer is all reduced. Everything's gooey, happy. You can see that it's actually, it's not clear. It's got texture to it. This is all the solids hanging out. Now we're gonna take the ancho broth and just crank it right in there. Ta-da. Fill up the sink with more pots. Just give it a twirl. All right. This is the point where you turn it down to say half, whatever, and put a lid on it. Let that go for as long as humanly possible. Also, if you make this, if you have a big cast iron kettle, make it in that. It'll taste better, actually, but we don't have one. So. And the other thing, I'd be remiss if I wasn't pointing out why this is an important dish. It's really a dish that came together from the American amalgamation. You had Texas, which was 6 countries, but at this point, when this really started to flourish, you had Texas was a Habsburg Empire. Maria Theresa, if you don't know anything about her, look her up. She's fascinating. Brought all of these Czechs, Slovaks, Hungarians, not so many Hungarians, but a few, Germans, Austrians, and you already had the Mexicans in the rancheros and the caballeros that were making things, or chili con carne or something like it, because this is a very simple step. You have meat that you can't just throw on a grill and eat because it's too tough, needs to be denatured, needs to be seasoned, and then you have, you want to put chili in it, you want to make it taste good, you want it to be filling. Chili fills you up as well. So then when you had these people coming from Central Europe, Central and Eastern Europe, and saying, oh, hey, we make goulash. It's this really cool thing that I think is important for especially people in this country right now, where everybody's building these walls of nationalism and stupidity, to realize that everything that you attach to or believe is American really came from a bunch of people getting together and making something great. Anyway, a couple more hours, we'll pull this off and show you how it's good. Okay? All right, so we have our chili. It's all gooey, bubbly, happy. Something that I like to do, and if you have the time or you can develop the patience in order to get it done, when you make a soup or a stew or anything that's got more than 3 fucking ingredients in it, turn it off, let it cool, put it in the fridge overnight, then bring it back up and let it simmer again. You're gonna get your layers of flavor and everything it's way better. All right, and so we're just gonna take it over here. Got a bowl. This is like so super easy, but I gotta give you the money shot. I've been told that you need money shots. So I guess this is food porn. And then I just fried tortillas. Cut them thin so that they get really crispy and you can pile them up and they look good. But some crunch in here is fantastic. These are corn tortillas. Don't do this with flour because that's just white trash bullshit. A cilantro crema. If you can get cream, Mexican crema from the Mexican market, you can even order it online. Half a bunch of cilantro, 1 piece of garlic, some cumin, and the juice of 2 limes. Run that in the blender. It's really bright and happy and light, and poses really good. We'll put it in the light. There you go. That's it. That's delicious. It's truly easy to make, and it'll fill you up. Oh, and one thing. Something you'll notice that does not appear in this chili because it's real chili. Fucking beans. People who put beans in chili should be taken out and shot. Okay, cool. Bye.